Tell me about your friendship with Andy Warhol.
You know, I was just sort of on the verge of becoming a really good friend of his. I think that when he died, I was just on the verge of that. You know, he was an acquaintance, and I would see him more and more often. And he asked me to be sort of narrator on one of his TV show that he had on MTV called Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes. And I just completely admired and adored him. Well, who wouldn't?
Difficult to do it in brief, but who was he? I mean, who was he really?
Tough nut to crack. He was a generous person. He did a lot of charity work people don't even know about. He took care of his mother. I think he was, just a Polish kid from Pittsburgh, whatever that is. He was a genius. I think he was a genius.
So that answers the next question, what he was. And your answer is Andy Warhol was a bona fide certified genius.
Yeah, I think so. And, when he passed, the social scene in Manhattan, and especially in the downtown, was lost. There was a great sense of loss. Not just with me. And I didn't realize it until, 2 years later that I had been in mourning for him for a couple of years. And, I wasn't even an intimate friend. It was just this force of energy. He was there. He was positive. He went out to see things. He was visible. It was a tremendous magnetic force.
You own one of those Warhol portraits of yourself.
Yeah.
And you said it's among your most prized possessions.
Yeah.
Question, do you think he captured something about you that helped you see yourself in a different light?
He did something very nice in my portrait that he didn't do in anybody else's that I know of. In the, center of the eye, in the pupil, he always did a little white mark, like a light, would hit the eye.
Right in the center of the eye.
Yeah, or wherever the reflection was, And he made mine heart-shaped. And I never noticed it until recently. And I looked, at the exhibit, and none of the other eyeballs had that. I was just like, oh, wow. That's it.
Well, that's something to oh, wow about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the name of the band, Blondie. Been a lot of mythology about from where the name came. Let me begin with a confession. That for a long time, I thought Blondie referred to you. But let's talk about where the name came from.
Well, I guess originally I can't really say where. I guess it was from the comic strip. And that, of course, was Penny Singleton. And she played the character in film. And, the character in the comics had blonde hair. And, Dagwood was always, yelling out, Blondie! I don't know. It's sort of an Americanism that I just thought, wow, how flawless is that, how perfect that it's already sort of embedded in everyone's brain. And, little girls, they hate Blondie, it's an endearment, So one day I was just walking across Houston Street and somebody yelled out, hey, Blondie, so I had bleached my hair and, I thought, oh my God, there it is. Because we had been struggling to find a name for the band, and that was it.
So it came from catcalls, like a construction worker or someone called her, hey, yeah. Blondie. And you said, bingo, name of the band.
Yeah.
Now, you said you bleached your hair. Why did you do that?
Well, I was actually working at a beauty salon in New Jersey. It was owned by somebody that I went to high school with, Ricky Hyatt. And, some days on slow days when you're working in a hair salon, you end up with a haircut or a color because everybody wants to, fiddle around, and you don't want to sit there and do nothing all day, so you do somebody's hair or you whatever. So I came home one day with blonde hair, and shortly thereafter was yelled at by a truck driver or something.
Now, when did you become aware of Marilyn Monroe and she became such an influence on you?
Oh, well, I think in her films, I grew up with television. So, we had the advantage. And I think that that's a terrific advantage, technology, as we see, what kids grow up with today. Technology is a huge advantage. So television not only was entertainment, but it did spur curiosity as well. There was all these, oh, wow, look at that.
Did you ever meet Marilyn Monroe?
No. I did meet Penny Singleton, and I met Rita Hayworth. So I have, met quite a few women in particular that I have always admired.
Well, if not originally, and it may have been originally, that eventually that you sought to change how women were seen in the music industry. Do you think you succeeded in doing that?
Honestly, I don't know that I did try to do anything that grandiose or that much. I don't think that I ever had felt that I had that much power. I think that I was, struggling to achieve, what I wanted to achieve. And, I had a bit of a stubborn nature. And I don't know, just kept at it. I don't know that I actually did change anything. I think that it was an idea whose time had come. I was influenced by women like Charlotte Moorman, and she was a bare-breasted cellist. How much more of a statement can a woman make? Really.
I'm not going to touch that line.
Okay.
But the reason it comes to mind is that clearly what you did, what you have done, and what you're still doing reverberated an influence on Madonna, Lady Gaga, Cyndi Lauper, a long line of people who followed in your wake. Were you aware of that at the time?
Not especially, no. As I say, I was maybe short-sighted, I don't know, but I was more concerned with achieving the things that I wanted to achieve for myself. And it wasn't really until much later that, I think sort of in maybe it was the late 1980s, somebody had referred to me as an icon, and I thought, oh, isn't that some kind of a Russian religious statue or something? Because iconography or becoming an icon or saying that people are icons really started happening then, and I didn't really know if I liked it very much, but it's just semantics, right? It's just words.